Good evening. Tonight I would like to talk to you about the subject of why we haven't recovered a body of Bigfoot, why science hasn't officially recognized it with a type specimen. This seems to be the $64,000 question. This is even more so definitive to a lot of people than the Patterson-Gimlin film or any picture or video, because there'll always be debates whether pictures and videos and audio recordings, no matter how much expert testimony you get, are faked or hoaxed, or there's a little bit of a doubt, or people just won't believe it. But if there's a body on the slab with blood being drawn out of it, with it actually being of a former living Bigfoot, that would be the scientific proof. That's the big one that everybody would want. So let's take a look at a few reasons why there hasn't been a body. Now, a lot of people will tell you there have been, and there have been reports, and people have shot them, people have hit them with cars, people have seen them poisoned, people have seen them dead. There's been reports of forest fires and them being hauled out. But let's take a quick look at why it would be really hard to find a Bigfoot body under normal circumstances. First off, Bigfoot being a robust creature, being shot or poisoned and going off into the woods and dying wouldn't last very long. From coyotes and wolves to ravens to insects, bodies in the woods don't last more than a couple weeks. And the ability of these things, especially for a wounded animal, even if you look at bears or mountain lions, to cover great distances and then go off and die in seclusion, or get better, because that's basically the law of the woods. You're going to get better or you're going to die. There are no hospitals. So I think the other thing to consider is beyond the natural woods of animals and insects is in North America, especially our arboreal pine forest, and even our oak forest, mixed forest, is very acidic. The soil itself is a very high acidic compound, which breaks down the calcium and other things that are in the bone. So even once the carcass and flesh has been removed, the soil will break down the bones quite easily. The other thing to consider is if you did come across a body, you shot one, you hit one with a truck, you poisoned one, or there was a forest fire and you found a 9-foot looking corpse that looked like a half-burned Bigfoot out there, there's a strong possibility that somebody is going to come take it from you. Now I'm talking about the government or a agency or somebody out there who's trying to keep this under wraps. This has been very well documented, of different people who have hit them, who have worked for the government, who've had to euthanize them. There's lots of stories out there. I remember on Sasquatch Chronicles had one where a trucker hit one, and it charged his big rig truck. It hit it, and when he came back the other way, the road was completely paved over and there was no sign of anything. There's lots of stories of these guys showing up. You didn't see anything. You hit a bear. Get out of here. You didn't see nothing. If you know what's good for you, and hauling off the body. There's lots of reports of these mysterious men in black, like basically the Bigfoot world's men in black happening out there. So I think you'd be hard pressed to even collect one. Your photographic evidence, your DNA evidence would all be taken from you. The other thing to consider, and this is a controversial one, people have argued with me on this, and I kind of go either way. I could see a case for either way, is that maybe Bigfoot buries their dead. We bury our dead. Neanderthals have known to bury their dead. Perhaps they even eat their dead. Neanderthals were known to be cannibals. Humans have been known to be cannibals. If you look at the siege of Hanobia, where the family was being bothered by these creatures, they reportedly shot one and it got drug off. They removed the body. This has been recorded by a bunch of people who have shot them or seen dead ones in the past. I know World Bigfoot Radio with Duke has got a couple stories where they've shot them and the bodies have been gone. This is quite a common thing, whether they're eating them or buried them. I know a lot of the Choctaw tribes and some of the native tribes have also said that they bury them in these burial mounds, and they have stories about stealing their bones and whatnot. So I think with the different varieties of Bigfoot and the different ferocities, I think the more gentle, patty types might bury their dead or do something, might pay a little more respect. The more savage types might eat their dead. Certain ones probably just let them lay there. I think times a year and how good they're doing, It's probably going to have a big impact on whether or not they eat their dead, or they bury their dead, or they just leave them alone. By the way, just before anybody says anything, I know a lot of these pictures I'm showing in the background are fakes. They're obvious fakes, a lot of them. Some of them are dead bears and whatnot. You don't need to post that in a comment. I know they're fake. This is just representation of what might happen if you find dead things in the woods. Now, I've spent a lot of time in the woods myself. I've found bones before, usually scattered. You'll never find a complete skeleton. I found jaw bones before, and I found antlers, or you might find a rib bone in a jaw or something. But that's very, very rare, and that's usually during hunting season or a hunting kill. Very rarely do you find bones out there in the woods. It's most animals will take it back to a den, and like I said, scavengers scare it off. So here's just a few of the reasons why I think that finding a Bigfoot body, our acidic soil, the natural ways of the animal kingdom to disperse things and carry off carcasses, also the possibility that Bigfoot might be burying their dead or eating their dead or disposing of their dead. Also the ability for these things to cover very rugged ground to where we would never find it. You can go a couple hundred yards off a hiking trail up a sheer mountain to an area that no one's probably ever been to or seen up close that may be, in fact, like I said, very close to a trail. It's just the way these things operate. So those are just some of the reasons why we've never had a body recovered for science. Like I said, there's natural explanations, and then I think there's a larger government cover-up at work, or if it is our government or something else, something doesn't want the truth of these things being out there. Please like, please subscribe, please share this video. This was one of those common questions that always gets asked of me, and I wanted to make a video of my explanation. Have a pleasant evening and good night.